still, the seats are still there, you can still see it. There they go.
What year was that? Oh, look there.
So it was, yeah, it was pretty awful. Everybody's got their own story. It took me, my daughter runs a preschool out in the eastern suburbs, and she was at work, so I couldn't get hold of her till 2:30 in the morning. Before I could get hold of her, she still had kids at the preschool up until 1:30 in the morning because the parents couldn't get to them. My two sisters were okay, but it took me 2 days to get hold of one of them before I found out that she was alright. Yeah, it was a pretty trying, pretty frustrating, and pretty stressful sort of time for everybody. We just wanted to turn back, but at the end of the day, they didn't want anybody coming back in that went actually rescue people. They're going to be working with the rescue of people. So we basically just kept on going. So I had another tour director with me. Now she was from Christchurch as well, and she had family here as well. Her son was actually out on the roof of a house, fixing the roof of a house when the earthquake hit. This side here on the left hand side is probably one of the saddest. It used to be the brewery. And it's all been flattened out. So we had a major catastrophe here in New Zealand where you couldn't buy Marmite, and all the yeast extract that got into the Marmite came from this brewery. And people were putting jars of Marmite on the equivalent to eBay, which is trading here, and they were getting $200-300 for a jar of Marmite. But thankfully, the brewery in Timaru has come to the party with the yeast extract now. When the earthquake hit, everybody was basically, they were herded towards this big area in front of us, Hagley Park. Out to the right is the hospital, and everybody was basically herded to here. They had emergency tents, first aid tents, and that set up, and trying to when people running around taking people's names to make sure that they were registered as being alive and well. People that were looking for loved ones, they were somehow knew that they're going to be in Hagley Park, and they reckon had people running around here looking for loved ones and looking for brothers and sisters and children. And it was a Tuesday lunchtime, so a lot of the schools were actually in, and a lot of the schools had to be evacuated, and people trying to get to the schools. And yeah, it was just I was probably quite lucky because I wasn't here when it hit, but I know there's quite a few driver companions or driver colleagues that were actually working in Christchurch at the time, because there was 2 big cruise ships had come into Littleton on that morning, and they had a lot of fun trying to find everybody and get back to Littleton, because the only way to Littleton was 3 ways. One was over the Danzies Pass, which was the only way they could get there because the Dyers Pass road had subsided and collapsed, and the road tunnel had problems as well. They weren't letting any traffic through there either, so yeah, it made the whole thing a little bit confusing and pandemonium. But Christchurch people, contemporaries as we know, are pretty resilient sort of people. They love the city, they love where they are, and they're just determined to make it work. And that container wall there opposite the hotel, the casual container where they made all the shops out of containers, that was the first thing to happen when that opened up. It was just amazing that so many people were so pleased to have something open in the centre of town again. A lot of the malls a whole lot of malls in different parts of the city, and a lot of them were shut down as well because of the earthquakes. Car parks collapsed, and there was cars stuck there. They couldn't get out because some of the ramps of the car parks had fallen off, and yeah, it was pretty much devastation. What a lot of people say to me when they've come over and they've done a tour since the earthquake, and they can't believe the state of the place because they never saw anything like that on TV. It was nothing what I've shown you this morning was actually shown on TV. It was out in the eastern suburbs. It's still not very nice to go out there. I've got a friend out there with he's got 4 children, and they're living in a house that they shouldn't be living in, but they haven't got a choice. and not last winter, the winter before, they asked me to go out and have a meal with them. We went out, and the place was like a fridge. It was freezing, and the kids were all sick. His wife was coughing and spluttering. The house was freezing. He was paying nearly $1,000 a month for electricity to try and get the place warm, because so many cracks and everything. The heat was just escaping. He had a fireplace there. I said, light the fire. And he said, well, I can't, I'm not allowed to. I said, why? He said, because of the pollution. I said, to hell with the pollution. Light the fire. So I haven't got any wood. I said, right. I went outside, took off, went around a wood yard, got half a dozen sets of firewood, and switched the wetback of the stove off the for the hot water, turned that on, and turned the electricity off, and then the wetback, and we had that place heated up in an hour. And already the kids, after an hour, the kids were feeling so much better. I said, don't worry about it. Council can come around and just tell them to shove it where the sun don't shine, basically. But he's shifted, he's out to the western side now, he's got paid out. And he's quite happy now, he's got a brand new home. But he's paying a mortgage that's about 3 times as much as what he was hoping for. But at least he's got everybody there and they're all well. And but yeah, I could believe when it went this ice on the inside of the windows. It was so cold. It was miserable. And we had that fire going, and we had hot water so the kids could have a nice hot bath. It was yeah, it was good. So we're going to start heading out of Christchurch, heading south along these Canterbury Plains. You're not going to notice a lot of the damage on this side. We're sort of getting onto the west side now. There is a couple of places where there could be a new building going up, but a lot of the places down here, as you can see, are only 1 or 2 stories high. There's no high-rise buildings out this way by the UQC. When the earthquake hit, there was no room here for our tours. We couldn't get in here. We had to travel. For those of you who come from the north, we had to travel from where we were in Picton. We used to come from Picton and have to drive to where we're going to tonight, which is about 850 kilometres in the one day. And we had to come into Christchurch because we had new people to pick up. So the days were horrendous. They were huge, and but we managed to make it work. We got, we had a few issues on the way, but they were huge days. But the tourists, people, they still came. It was because at the end of the day, it was only really Christchurch that was affected. Once you sort of get out of Christchurch, there's no evidence of earthquakes at all. They were felt all around the country, all around the South Island. They were felt down in Dunedin, but there was no damage. They were only sort of equated to about a 2.8 or a 3 down there, so there was no damage. The reason why there was damage here, of course, as I mentioned yesterday, because they were so shallow. That big earthquake on the 22nd of February, it was only 5 kilometres deep, so that's why it caused all the damage.